still. There we go.
Yeah, it takes a little bit. We're live?
We're live.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. We are live. Luke, how you doing, man?
Good, buddy. Yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Well, maybe a little bit bad because I got some issues with my feet, which we'll talk about in terms of pain and taking care of your bodies. But we're talking about today, we're going to talk about personal development and how that could potentially lead to having, a good life or to building the life that you want. And I just wanted to start off by just asking you, what do you do in your life to try to work yourself into getting to the place that you want to be? Like, how do you try to grow as an individual in order to, kind of feel like you're like, I'm building up to something that I want to be, right?
Yeah. Like, it's always something different all the time. It's, the whole personal development, path or like the whole category. I've been involved with it now for about 5 years, and it's
You mean like really just focusing?
yeah
on?
I'm down this personal development rabbit hole now. Like I'm in the weeds. I'm on the podcasts, I'm reading the books, I'm doing the work, right? Because personally I just kind of found that I hit a roadblock in my life where I wanted to be happier, so I wanted to take control of it. So you go down the personal development, right? And some of the stuff.
Let's hit on that for just one quick second. So 5 years ago, you're like, I feel like I need to figure out how to get happy. And did you just intuitively know that I just need to grow as an individual? Was that the first thing you're like, you know what, I'm going to focus on that?
I think I hit a roadblock with it kind of came down to like when I started valuing materials, status. And when I started reaching those points in my life, I wasn't getting the expectations that I thought I was going to get.
Like you're realizing that that's not what's making you happy.
It's kind of what it was. It was kind of like, and then I was like overextending, over risking, working too hard, and like, becoming extremely frustrated and emotional over not having or not getting the things that I thought I should have. And I kind of just hit a roadblock, and I was like, man, like this whole status game, like, the rat race of life of the status, money, materials, the more, it wasn't fulfilling me. And I kind of started venturing down like this rabbit hole, especially somebody coming from a stock market background. There's no end in sight with, the potential that you could potentially have. So you're never satisfied.
Yeah.
And I started kind of just going down this road of trying to figure out how to be happy. Like, 'cause I mean, that's what personal development is, isn't it? We're trying to figure out how to create this perception of how to be happy.
Yeah, I think it's kind of how to be happy, but I think it's also kind of how do I get the things in my life that I want to, or like achieve the things that I want to achieve. It's not necessarily happiness, but like, hey, maybe I just want to be able to run a marathon, or maybe I just want to reach a certain weight or be healthy in a certain thing. You know what I mean? It's not always, I think, strictly tied to happiness. I think those things do lead to happiness for sure, but I think could just be kind of goals and things. You want to
so
achieve,
what you're
right?
suggesting there is you're trying to attach outcomes to happiness, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of like, this is where I get lost. And this is kind of like when you're going down this rabbit hole, it's called like, the gold medalist syndrome. You know what I mean? Like as soon as they get the gold medal, they become super depressed, right?
Right, because it's something that they've had
They
in their mind for so many years.
They set these goals and they want these goals. And as soon as they get them, it does not fill this void that they think it's going to fill, because they're working so hard to achieve this thing.
Okay.
And in their mind, once I get this, then I'm not going to have this self-doubt. I'm not going to have this self-criticism. I'm not going to have these intrusive thoughts, these things that our minds just, since evolution, is just something that we're always going to have. And that's the tough thing with personal development, because where I'm at right now with it, after 5 years, I'm starting to go on the side where I think it's a little bit of a trap.
Of setting goals.
Not of setting goals,
okay.
Just really working on personal development. I find what I'm starting to believe is that you almost have to work at personal development to realize that there is nothing you can do that's going to give you this everlasting drip of dopamine all the time. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
because that's what I feel like a lot of us, and myself included, that we think that the harder we work on something, the more information, the more books we read, the more podcasts we go to, the more we meditate, the more we exercise. And I mean, all these things do help, but at the end of the day, there is no stopping intrusive thoughts. There's no stopping critical thinking. There's no stopping. It's really just, the thing I learned with personal development is that you just have to be aware that these things, think shit's gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
Like everything, you're always gonna have to deal with some sort of, you know, mental anguish, some exterior problem, you know, and and I feel like
things you can't account for.
I feel like we're trying to I feel like we think that the harder we can like go down this personal development rabbit hole, we're going to abolish all those bad things happening to us. But really what it is just we need to develop the tools to be aware that there is no perfect utopia for the mind.
Or what to do when something happens.
Yeah.
So I want to go back a little bit of what you said about, you know, the gold medal syndrome and once you achieve something. So Andrea, I'll just bring you in here real quick because you always set these kind of personalized goals of, hey, I want to run the half marathon. And then you train for it for like 6 months and then you do it. Does that ring true to you? Like, do you feel a sense of letdown after you've done it, or a sense of like, oh, I don't know where I'm going to go after you've achieved that goal?
No, number one, I felt like I was gonna die after it. So
Well, that's the physical exertion of doing it.
no, I think for me, I'm always like, okay, what's next? Like, what next can I, like, what goal can I work on next? And I like working on like a bunch of different types of goals. So like always there's something like physical, like in the gym, running, whatever, there's something there.
Yeah.
But I really need to keep my brain active. So it's like reading whatever type of scientific book, because that's my background is biology. So making sure I'm like up to date on that stuff. And then, or like languages, like now we're trying to learn French. So it's always like learning something and keeping my brain active.
So it sounds like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's not so much of the destination, it's the journey, right? Whereas, you know, you just like the fact that you're learning something and that you're doing something and you're keeping your brain active. And it's not so much that you want to get to that end state, it's just that you enjoy the whole process of getting there.
Yeah. But like that gold medal syndrome is such a real thing. And so 2 examples I'll give is her name is Alexi Pappas, I think, and she's been on Rich Roll a couple of times. She is a runner and she was at the Olympics, and she talked about that depressive state after the Olympics. And it was really interesting. She wrote a whole book about it, and it was really interesting how she pulled herself out afterwards. So she's really good. And then so it's not just that, but also I know a lot of women after they get married, they spend like a year planning this giant, crazy big wedding, and then there's such a fallout afterwards. Because they're like, "What? It's over! Like all this for like one day, and then it's just done." So it's a thing for sure.
I'll chime in here. For what Andrea's saying, I totally agree with her in the sense of like with your marathon, like working towards the marathon and accomplishing that. I can see how that would not lead to a spate of depression, because I guess that is just more of like that. I can totally like really resonate with that. But why is it different for like there is this next level, like when like you achieve this peak of a mountain of some sort, like you probably didn't put you running a marathon as this thing that's going to change your life. You're just like, I really want to accomplish this. I want to train for it.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to feel really good, but you didn't put this weight at the top of this mountain that this is going to change your life. I think that's the difference
between these high-level
like,
athletes.
you're like, I want to train for a marathon. I want to see how it feels. I want to experience that. It felt really good. Like, you know what I mean? But these people, I think it's the expectation they put to what winning a gold medal is going to be like. And I think that's why, and I feel like that's why they get so depressed, because they think that this peak of the mountain is going to just create this utopia of a type of a life for them from now on. And that's the thing.
Then the other thing too is I think people at that performance level, it's like that's their identity.
I was just going to say that they've been working their whole lives to try to get to that pinnacle, and maybe even if they don't think it's going to open up all the doors and they're going to get whatever, but just to I just can't imagine the focus you'd have to like make it to the NHL and just like working all the time. And you get there, and then it's like, and then you play, and then you're done. Like, what now? Almost, even though that you didn't think, you know what I mean? That's not going to open the doors, but it's like
The
your whole
journey's
identity's
over.
right there.
When you
Yeah,
when you
what do
reach
you-
the top of the peak of your thing, swimming, like
Yeah.
let's use the gold medalist syndrome. You get the gold medal in the thing that you do. That's
Yeah.
as far as it goes.
You can't get
That's as far as it goes.
A double
Or maybe
gold,
okay,
but-
what are we gonna get? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the journey is over.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's probably why it gets so depressing, because it's like you were just living in this hopeful state of motivation. Like
Yeah.
you're motivated because you just want
That
you
was
want it
the
so
goal.
bad.
That
and then,
was you,
And then
yeah.
how can you get motivated to keep going doing it? You know
Once
what I mean?
you're there.
You have to, like, I can see, you know what I mean, how people just like it makes a lot of sense to me.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the only example I really have in my life is when I went through that big downturn in the stock market. I put a lot of weight saying, if I could recover this, if I recover this and get past this back to where I was, it'll be amazing. I will,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I surpassed it, and I got past it, and it wasn't, because it's like, you know what I mean? I put a lot of effort to rebuilding myself back up, and I got back to it, and I thought that it was going to be the greatest thing in the world, and it wasn't, because now I'm thinking like, oh, if I just didn't have this downturn, then I could, but the difference about that is that there's never a peak when it comes to wealth. There's never a peak.
You can always have more.
Yeah, it's an infinity thing, right? You know what I mean? That's another double-edged sword with this personal development. Some things you can never hit a peak,
Yeah.
right?
And other things are.
So it's like, so
set.
you have to almost like try to figure out, that's when you have to find contentment in your craft. You know what I mean? Some
Yeah.
things do have peaks. You know what I mean? Like the actor winning the Oscar, that's probably, when it comes to achievements, you know what I mean? I would say that's the peak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that sort of stuff. But then there's the other thing where, you could, growing your business, you know what I mean? Like you could have a goal, but then you reach it, and then you could be like, well, now what's
Well, it's
next?
always
You know
what's
what
next.
I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But that's kind of, it's, so that's where kind of like the thing with, and that's all part of personal development. It's how to like live in this world where some things you can never be satisfied because they just keep going up and up. And then some things you hit a peak, and then the journey's over, and then you become super depressed because that peak didn't give you that expectation that you thought it was
What
going
was
to
going
give
to happen?
you.
Yeah. And then once you're there, there's nowhere else to go because,
Yeah.
like I said, you
I find
already won the gold.
I find another example just to like categorize things is that going on vacations.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? I find we put so much emphasis, like we can dream about what this vacation is going to be like. We have expectations of what it's like. We can see it. We can, it's all going to, and then we go on it and it just does not.
It's never as good as.
You know what I mean? And then
generally.
and then you get there and you're in the moment, and then, you know what I mean? It's a lot of times the expectations can be built in from past expectations. You know what I mean? I find a lot of the times we want to replay things because we expect them to be the same as they were before.
Yeah.
And I
Or
find
hopefully better.
or
Yeah.
hopefully better. And sometimes you can't top that vacation. Sometimes
Yeah.
I always find that, because when you go on vacation, I always find people are always talking about the next vacation when you're on vacation.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, I catch people doing it
Yeah.
all the time. Like
we just don't go on vacation enough, I guess.
yeah,
eh, Andrea?
I'm not like, I mean, we were in Mexico with a group of friends.
Yeah,
not too
not
long
tossing
ago.
shade. I'm just
Yeah,
talking
no.
about for us.
I noticed this type of stuff, and like we were there day 2 enjoying it, and like
Yeah.
instead of like being in the moment, they're talking about we got to come here again next year.
Yeah. It's
and I'm like, well,
how do you
let's-
know what's going to be the next 3 days?
Yeah, like
you know?
let's enjoy what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Like let's not plan this vacation.
So living in the moment, it's like being in that concert and everyone's looking at it through their phone. Like, what are you doing? Just experience what you have now. Are you going to go home and watch the concert on your phone?
Yeah, and
so
I find that it's such a hard skill to like, and I think one of the biggest things in like personal development, and it is the one commonality is it's all it's trying to tell you is like be in the moment, live in the moment, like enjoy what's in front of you, no matter if it's deemed to be like, if it's you're going on a flight and you're stuck in an airport for 8 hours, be there.
Yeah.
Like just go get a book. You know what I mean? Walk around, go have a drink, try to meet people, try to make the most out of it.
It's easier said than done. I mean,
It is.
super easier.
It is,
That's
but-
basically what I think it is. That's like a stoic kind of lifestyle philosophy where you can't control all the outcome or all the things that are going to happen on you. All you can control is how you're going to respond to that. And if you respond to that in a way that's cool, calm, and collected, and you're not going to let it affect, your mood per se, like that's almost like that Stoic philosophy, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Stoic philosophy is basically personal. It's the pinnacle of personal development. I find like it's one of the pillars, right?
Yeah.
It's why Stoic, like why is like Stoic philosophy so mainstream now? Like it's been around since like the Roman
cycle,
Empire.
but yeah, but
No, it's super popular now. Like
I know.
in
But
personal development, like Ryan Holiday and all his literature, like he's just a young dude that popularized Stoicism.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean.
I have some other reservations in terms of how people maybe like use the algorithm or whatever to get themselves popular, and yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get into that too much, but I feel like a lot of people take older concepts and just repurpose them surface level, and then they get successful, which is good for them, I guess.
Why is that coming now? Like, because why? Like can we agree that personal development has like blown up in like the last I think 5 years? Like, I know that I'm just getting into it, but
yeah, sorry, no, I think it really has to do with how society is right now and how bad things are for a lot of people. Whether you're talking about the cost of living, whether you're talking about the loneliness epidemic, if you can say, especially for men nowadays and young men. You could talk about the way that people feel disenfranchised with their government and with their country that they're living in. They feel like they can't get ahead. They feel like no one's even trying to look after the interests. You combine all of that stuff together, and you get just a disenfranchised group of people. And then if somebody comes along and says, "Hey, listen, if you can adopt maybe this type of philosophy, you can figure out how to live a better life without having to worry about all these other people putting external things on you," I feel like that would resonate with people because everything else is so shitty. But I think it could go the other way as well too, is people can see that the life is so bad right now that they have complete apathy for life as well too, and they just go like, "Oh fuck it, I'm just gonna sit down and watch Netflix and eat junk food and whatever all day and not care about anything."
But what, like, I guess the question is why
I could be totally off.
Well, why is personal development I guess we can agree, like maybe it's because I'm in that world right now and I see a lot of it. So maybe I'm a little out of tune because this is just all I see. And some people are like, I don't even see that stuff. But I feel like the popularity of Joe Rogan is because he popularized personal development. He's the first kind of person that put out content, like whether you think Joe Rogan, but that's what kind of popularized personal development because he was this guy who was kind of perceived as a comedian, a jockey kind of guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But he kind of like made personal development because he's super into taking care of himself. He made health and wellness cool.
Interesting. I don't listen to him enough to know if that's kind of what he did.
You know what I mean? Like, because he kind of made me get interested in personal development.
Yeah.
Because this is the way he speaks on, like, because he, like, you look at him and the guy's like a famous comedian, like he smokes weed on camera, and he just kind of like, he's like this guy that gave this pathway for guys to, like, they can be macho, but they can also be into personal development, made personal development cool. Like that's kind of how I view it. And then you see he kind of like a trailblazer for all these other avenues, like, all the other podcasts. You see Rich Roll, Chris Williamson, Jay Shetty, all these other people were all blazed from Joe Rogan's path. And
so why I'm going to put the question to you then. Why do you think that people are into it now? Especially the past 5 years. Is it because of the role models that are giving people an avenue like, oh yeah,
well, I think cool. People are realizing, so are people just depressed? Like, are people like unhappy? Is this why personal development, like people are so into, because they're trying to find answers for meaning. They're trying to find how to be happy. You know what I mean? They're all trying to, like, why is it?
I think so.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why did I go down this rabbit hole? Cause like, you know what I mean? Cause like, I'm at this point right now where I'm like, kind of just, burning the candle at both ends, because I'm just realizing it doesn't, I think there's some great stuff out there. Like there's the, you want to eat healthy, you want to exercise, you want to get good sleep. You know what I mean? You want to be, those are pillars of health and wellness. You know what I mean? But when it comes to like happiness, it's just perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really is how you just perceive the world. You know what I mean? And going down this rabbit hole of personal development all the time, it just confuses the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how that, and like I'm starting to realize, like, now you're starting to see a lot of people backtrack on personal development. Tim Ferriss starting to call it a trap. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm starting to buy into that. Like, this little rabbit hole of like trying to fix yourself all the time is actually creating more turmoil in your mind.
So this is where I'll come at this with another angle, where I think a big problem in the industry is I think a lot of people jump on fads. And this is kind of what I was trying to say, is like personal development has always been a thing that's been good. Generally speaking, if you trying to make yourself a better person, it's a good thing. You want to get healthy, so you're going to start exercising. You want to learn the new language, start learning a new language. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's a net positive. But I feel like with people like you're saying, Jay Shetty and some of these other people, I feel like they take advantage of trends. And because personal development has been so trendy with guys like Tim Ferriss, the 4-hour work week and all these things, people are still looking for that quick fix, whether it's with the Atkins diet that was big in the 90s. Like, there are all these different things in these fads. I think they come and go, but it's all framed as just underlying principle or need that people have of like, why am I not happy, or what do I need to do in order to feel like I have a sense of fulfillment or purpose or whatever. And I think the flavor of the day now, or was maybe, the personal development, and people will jump on board and they, like I said, all these different podcasts and whatever, and then you get overloaded and you're just like, there's too many things now, and what is going on? And I think that's where people can fall into the trap, is there's so much out there. But I think we always need to bring things back to the most simplest thing, right? Like in health and fitness, it's like, okay, well, you just need to eat less, move more, like it's eat whole foods. And like for weightlifting and stuff, it's simple compound movements. It's always the stuff that stand the test of time, just like stoicism. It's been around since for forever. People know that, like, just, try to be in control of your mind and your emotions, and then that'll be on the pathway to being happy. So, and it's, I don't know, the commercial repackaging of things is always, I don't know, it brings so much noise into the equation. I think that's where people can get lost in the weeds and not just doing the simple things.
100. People are always going to want to take anything that they can package up and market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's easy to get, a little, stink on for that type of consumerism, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can't crap on these guys because they built a nice big platform and they're
it's like
cashing
good
in
for
on
them.
it. But I get what you're saying. So, and this is where what you're saying makes total sense, because this is the thing with the personal development trap, how I see it. The harder you try to be happy, the harder
the further away you're going to get.
The further away you get from it.
Yeah.
That's why I think that but you kind of have to go down that rabbit hole to realize, hey, all this working hard at trying to like create this is not going to hurt. It's like, all I can, try to like have a simple mind frame of like, I get to wake up in the morning. I have a loving wife. I have a beautiful children. I have a nice dog, and I had a great sleep last night. Like if you have the simple things under control and trying to like really focus on having gratitude for that, instead of focusing on the things that you don't have or the things you missed, or you know what I mean. But it's hard. Like, I'm like 3 or 4 different people throughout the day. You know what I mean? Like the morning is always some of the challengingest times, because that's when, like, the worries are the, you know what I mean? Like, what's not going right? What do I need to fix? Like, there's always like something my mind's trying to get me to fix. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I feel like those are the things when you're researching these things, where you can pick up some of those things that people say that are good. Like, hey, in the mornings, if you're having trouble, this is the time maybe you should take 5 minutes and work on gratitude or something like that. Take 5 minutes and just be like, you know what? I'm grateful that XYZ. And then you can go on with your day.
And it helps. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, the mind is a muscle, right? And it's like, you can't, I think the biggest problem is that it, like, it was called Mark Manson, I think, quoted this, called the doom loop of hell, where, you're having negative emotions, and then you're having negative emotions about having negative emotions.
Right.
Right. Just this doom loop. You know what I mean? And that's where you can control the second part. You know what I mean? Like, we're always, negative emotions are with us for whether we like it or not. You're never going to live without.
You can't be in control of these things that pop into your head.
But you can be in control of creating that next level.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that takes work. You know what I mean? So my buddy I was having a conversation with today, and he refers them as takers. He goes
Okay.
there, yeah, and I love that frame. I think it's actually Carl Jung that phrased it. But yeah, there's all your mind's always going to want to take something from you. It's going to try to steal your joy, like you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
and it's up to us to be like, no, you know what I mean. Like, step aside. And it's like, and I think we feel it's easy to feel that we are the only ones having these emotions. You know what I mean?
Everyone has them.
And
Yeah.
and that's the good thing about platforms like what we're trying to do here, and the ones that we gravitate towards, is that people come out in their vulnerabilities, and you start to see that all these people who look great on paper all have these things that go on with them, these negative emotions, these
For sure.
self-critical talks. Like, you
Just
know,
to be fair, I don't think we look that great on paper too. So
I think
maybe
we
I was
do.
speaking with me.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right, we're good, right, Andrea? We're
well,
good. Yeah,
it's all
our paper's great.
yeah, it's all subjective. You know what I mean? But with like the thing with like personal development is that you're right. It's a simple approach. You know what I mean? Like, the reason why people do gratitude in the morning or meditation, it's because you're trying to train your brain not to think about what you're doing wrong. You're trying to tell it what you're doing right. So, and what that does, it creates positive energy, which is the equivalent of drinking water, the equivalent of eating a nutritious breakfast, of exercising. Putting positive energy into your mind, it's the exact same. It's nourishment. And if you can like really focus, like if you care about your body, like that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to tell myself that I'm nourishing my body, because like, and like I know what it feels like. It's crazy what stress does to the body, or like negative thoughts, and like
I feel like that's something that we don't even really know. I think we kind of have a handle on stress, because stress is, you can measure it with your chemicals, but like, how do you measure negative thoughts? Do you know what I mean?
You can tell, like, if you're overweight, I've eaten too much, or if I can't run, for 5 minutes on a treadmill, I'm out of shape. But I can tell exactly what my body feels like when I've put it through the gauntlet of stress.
Yeah,
It's
Leo, how's it going, man?
Hey,
Good to
bud.
see you.
It's a very, first of all, sleep is like, I like when people like, we can get into sleep a little bit, because I think it's the pillar of personal development. Like, I think sleep is just the biggest performance enhancing drug that we could ask for, that I personally can contest to. You know what I mean?
Like what it's done for you.
Well, it's like, I mean, you know what it's like, what it feels like to get 8 hours and what it feels like to get 5 hours.
Yeah.
Like, there's a huge difference.
There's so much that can be done to optimize sleep as well too, because it's also not just the quantity of time, it's the quality as well too, right? Like, if you're getting good sleep or not. Doing good. Long time no see. Yeah, I know. It's been a while. We got some other stuff that's going on, which is, I think you're gonna find really interesting. Glad you caught the notification. Oh, good. Yeah, it's tough with YouTube. You never know when they send it to subscribers or not, or whatever the case. But glad to have you here. And one thing that's going to be coming up too is doing this live stream here with Luke as well, where we're just talking about, the things on the screen here, what it takes to be happy and kind of live a good life. So that's what we're talking about. But I'm also going to be doing some live streams about business as well, and where things are going off with Pixel, because things have been taken off there, which is really, 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 really fun, because we're making some good money, which is great. Always good to make money. Difference between quality and quantity of sleep. Because if you sleep 8 hours, but you're waking up and tossing and turning every half an hour, that's not good as well too. So what have you done to up the quality of your sleep, and what kind of improvements have you seen? From you?
It's been one of the biggest things that I've been focused on in like the last 5 years before going, and what I've learned through sleep, that it is all about like these nighttime routines. Yeah, a little bit, but it's how you live your day.
Yeah.
It's about how much what kind of it's stimulation. Like, if your body, like if you put in a lot of bad stimulation, if you get like I call getting rattled, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you get rattled, you know what I mean? If you're like overthinking things and you're stressing about things and you're getting worked up and frustrated, it creates this stimulation in your body, and your body holds on to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, especially if you're doing this at night, if you're arguing at night, if you're watching something, if you're playing a sport at night, you're creating stimulation in your body. But I find that for me personally, if I get overstimulated during the day, like with negative emotions, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. You, like, case in point, you get in an argument with somebody, like, you say you have road rage, is a typical one. Like
Yeah,
some people get it really bad.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you know what I mean? They take that rage home with them and it's festering in their body.
Yeah.
That carries into your sleep. Your body holds on to that tension and it does not let you relax. And it's that type of stuff. Like if you're not living a very balanced, calm life, you know what I mean? Then the sleep will be affected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, do you ever fly?
On a plane?
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course. And then like, do you ever
fly like with my own wings?
But
Yeah,
like, but I always find like coming off a flight, like especially like a longer flight.
Yeah.
I'm always having trouble to sleep that night because the airports, the airplane, and like usually
It's a different environment.
It's an environment that creates an unbalance.
And then you're going to sleep in a place that's not your bed as well, too.
Usually, yeah.
Usually there's a time difference.
It creates this complete imbalance in my body. Usually I'm never like fully slept the night before. I find airports very stressful places to be. I find airplanes very stressful to be in.
Yeah.
And I find that it really...
You got to fly first class. That's the problem, eh?
I mean, it wouldn't... Yeah, that'd be great. But I just find it creates a lot of just tension and stimulation in the body, and it affects your sleep. So what really I focus on is really trying to remain, balanced and calm throughout my day. And especially when it comes to the night, I try to just unwind, like, just like I some people like would say like, don't watch Netflix at night, but I love watching a good show at night. It relaxes me. It doesn't take me to anywhere where it just puts me in the moment.
Yeah.
A good story.
Do you watch, like when you're, did you, sir, what is it, Andrea, what's it called? I don't know what it's called there, but when people say don't have like blue lights or
Blue
whatever,
light,
like,
yeah.
do you follow all that stuff? I think that's Huberman says that a lot. It's
So
like,
you're talking
there's a
about like a nighttime protocol?
Yeah.
Like
like
a
a
sleep hygiene.
Yeah, a certain amount of, like, I don't watch screens a certain amount of time before you go to bed. Like, do you follow that? Or do you say like, well, no, if I'm just going to watch Netflix half an hour before I go to bed or right before I go to bed and then turn off the TV and just hop into bed?
I do. So typically what I do, so the last hour, I actually put a sleep mask on my eyes and I sit there and I listen to the TV. I'll put the ball game on. Like
Okay.
right now, I'll put a sports on.
Okay.
And I'll just lie there and I won't look at the
It's just
screen.
like the radio too. Back
It's like
in
the
day when
radio,
you
and I'll
just
sit
want the
there and
play-by-play,
I'll
'cause you can
wind,
see the game in
and
your
I'll
mind.
wind right down,
Yeah.
and that's when I'm dozing off. Like I don't go to my bed until I am ready to sleep.
Okay.
Like I don't go lie in the bed like stimulated or like awake.
Yeah.
Like the bed is like 10 minutes. If I'm not asleep in 10 minutes, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Like not a,
I know what you're saying.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say? Like
yeah.
I don't want to be in bed watching TV. I'll be out in my living room, but I'll put a thing on because it just, for me personally, like, yeah, the screen kind of hurts my eyes.
Yeah.
Like I find that not everybody might, but yeah, I'll put a face mask on and I'll just listen and I'll relax. And my wife's usually there. I'm usually just talking to her with the face mask on. It might look a little silly, but
Yeah.
I find that I'm a big fan of earplugs with and I also put the brown noise on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Kind of drowns out noises in around in my sleeping environment, people upstairs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew, that's interesting too, because there was one, I don't know what it was. It was like quite a few summers ago where I just like, I need to get a fan because it's too hot in here. And they put a fan on. And then the next night when it wasn't hot or whatever, I turned the fan off. And you're like, no, I need the fan
need
on
it.
just for the noise.
Yeah.
And now every day since,
have
it's
to
like,
You like it, eh?
I gotta have the fan on.
My like sleep thing, it's been over years and it's forced you to have good sleep hygiene because I had such trouble sleeping for literally years. So,
Tell me
why-
about it.
Why is that?
well, it was hormonal.
Okay.
The only reason my sleep improved, I would have crazy insomnia, like up hours and hours and hours, and then I'd be up like 4 or 5 times a night. It was the worst. I spent over like years like that, and it wasn't until a year ago when I started hormone replacement therapy that it went away.
You fixed it. Good.
Fixed it. Yeah. So it's for women, like I will constantly be spreading the word, go on hormone therapy. It's going to change your life.
Yeah, I don't know.
So-
I don't know if I think it's a thing that women have made up here of this hormone stuff, but I'm just
But
joking.
like,
if
but
you
I
think
really
I'm
think like the
serious.
sleep hygiene though is really important. Like I like
yeah.
the white noise, complete dark. I take magnesium before I go to bed. That's a big game changer too. Yeah.
I went through a phase of insomnia, and it's scary.
It's not fun.
It's really
it's
scary.
horrible.
It's really scary because not
is.
only the problem what insomnia is, it's anxiety about sleeping.
Yes.
And it's
'Cause
not
you're
like
thinking about,
and-
oh my God, I'm not sleeping.
well, the next you could be underslept, like maybe you get 4 hours and then you're underslept the whole day.
Yeah.
But that whole day you're worried about nighttime.
like, what am I gonna
You're
do?
like,
Yeah.
am I going to sleep tonight? And you're paranoid, and you'll do anything to get sleep. So you'll start taking narcotics. You'll start, going on medication,
Yeah.
which I did at one point in time because I was so lost that I went and took an SSRI. I don't take it now.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I didn't know what to do because I was in such, and little did I know it was all because of the stock market. It was because
you're getting yourself so worked up.
I was
with
getting,
that.
so, I was looking at it way too much. I was getting way too, this is how I realized that I was getting overstimulated by exposing myself to the stock market too much.
Yeah.
And that was creating so much stimulation in my mind. Like it's because do you ever get in this situation where there's so many endless possibilities. Maybe you get this about your business. You just can't stop thinking about scenarios or how to like fix things. And like with the stock market, it's a never-ending spiral of possibilities.
Yeah, it's like that. It's similar to that, but it's not so much of endless ways to fix things. It's just almost like there's so many different directions that I could go
Yes.
for business, and I'm like, and then you become like paralyzed. You're like, I don't even know what to do because there's so many options. So yeah, it's a horrible thing because then you're laying at night being like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, and it's terrible. I'm glad Pixel is doing well. I'm going to quit interrupting now. Anyways, glad to be back. No, I'll interrupt at all. If you ever have any questions, I do remember too, Leo, before you'd ask questions about like Andrew Tate and stuff like that. So back then it was like, oh, we're talking about business. It's not so much bringing up him. But if you have any questions on stuff like that, because we find that kind of discussions very interesting. And how people have that types of philosophies of like how to live a life. So yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, and just like that's kind of like where how I had to fix that. I think when I pivoted, remember we talked about my investing, I got away from the exposure to the stock market and moved into more long-term passive investing, which took me away from the computer screens.
Yeah.
Like I barely expose myself to it now. And the release, it took a while. It was like about 3 months. It took to like release that years and years of overexposure. And then I was like, that's when I kind of had the epiphany about sleep. I was like, okay, like this toxic stimulation is really detrimental to the human body and more importantly to your sleep. So, and I used to play a lot of late night hockey. I used to play a lot of leagues where the games would be 10 o'clock, sometimes 11 o'clock. And you're playing.
Those are hard games.
Yeah. You're playing a sport. You're coming home at 1 o'clock in the morning. Your body,
it takes like 2 hours just to wind down. Yeah.
If that, or sorry, if you can wind down in that,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it was like, I'd be up till like 3 and, up at like 6, you know what I mean? Just completely lethargic.
So back to what you're saying about the stock market, and you're exposed because you're trading all the time and you're always thinking about it, making money, losing money, all this stuff. And obviously thankfully you've done so well that you've ended up getting a nice nest egg here. But do you think it's really the exposure to the stock market, or is it just the pressure and the stress of just losing or winning money? Do you know what I mean? Like, would it have been the same if it's not stock market? Would it have been the same if it's something else?
Well, it's a combination. Well, there's the attachment to money. That's a whole other animal. You know what I mean? Like our attachment to money it's something that I don't even know if we'll ever be able to like control, like, because it just like it creates so much emotion in our mind because we put so much value into it, rightfully so.
Well, we don't
to
have
a point.
choice.
We don't have a choice, exactly.
But it's like
works. It's I find that it's so hard to like this like touch on like how money controls my mind. You know what I mean? Because it's like sometimes it's like I can be content, and then sometimes I'm totally living in a world where I could potentially have more, and I'm picturing that
you're
life.
Wishing you had the
That's
more,
the
whatever,
problem.
yeah.
Like I'm picturing a life with more money, so I put value on this future life with
Yeah.
this future wealth, and you bring that into the present world of what you're trying to do. And when it doesn't go the way you want, or it starts reversing, then that picture that you created for yourself becomes more distant. And that creates a lot of anxiety because you put a lot of, that's kind of like the gold medal. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, if I can get this certain level of wealth, then everything is there. And you start losing, like you play a lot of poker, right? And you start exposing yourself to it. And because like in that type of world, you could literally, like, you know, there's so many things you could think you can do. Like I could go take all my money and put it on this asset, and you know, I could double it maybe in a month. You know what I mean? Like that, those types of feelings come up all the time. And it's all these, should I do this? Should I do that? No, don't do this. Don't do that. And it's just these endless of like back and forthness that you eventually just get so swollen in the head that you create this level of anxiety that is so profound and so installed inside of you that it's hard to release.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you really have to like remove yourself from that environment for a long time. It's like I was doing that for like 3 years, you know, like
in that environment.
and it wasn't always, it wasn't always like, you know, overwhelming. There's lots of times, but you know, during like, you know, during crashes and bear markets, you know what I mean? You're trying to figure out how to protect yourself.
Oh,
and
for sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure. It's not every day is super high stress, but if you're in a stressful situation for that amount of time, it could be very, very taxing. So on a personal development level then, what would you say that, like, are there any reproducible steps that you can tell the audience about, like, okay, well, if you're in the situation where you are super high stress or whatever, and you want to figure out how you can get yourself out of that bad mind space, is there anything you could say to that?
Well,
or even just talk about what you did.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not an easy thing because a lot of people's situations could be their livelihood, right? It can be their 3 jobs they have to work to make rent and feed their children, right? Some people don't have a choice to step up. My first thing is step away from it. You know what I mean? Don't expose yourself to the things that are creating this negative stimulation to you, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, people that are working 3 jobs, which tons of people are, and they're not getting any sleep because they're working too much. You know what I mean? That's a different story.
And
but
if they can't step away
but
from
I mean,
it.
but I do believe that a lot of things like exposing themselves to content that is creating negative stimulation in their body. You have to be open to yourself and be like, if I'm looking at my phone 200 times a day, which I heard the other day is the average, and you're getting like worked up when you look at it and your body's going into this fight or flight. Like I could tell, like when I was looking at the stock market for more than 5 minutes, like reading headlines and looking at charts, and I'm starting to get a little
getting worked up.
I'm getting a little stimulated here, and that stimulation's sticking with me for like hours and hours. So I have to kind of like tell myself like this isn't creating the type of energy that I want.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to, but it's crazy because there's this pull that wants you to keep going towards it, right? It's kind of like there's this term called the pain body. And when your body's in this fight or flight stimulate, it wants more of that pain, which is crazy, right? Like we want more of this negative thing that's feeding us.
Just because it's some kind of stimulation.
It's a concept that was thrown out there by Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, the power of now. The guy that really praises being in the present moment.
Okay.
Yeah, so he termed this concept the pain body, and it's like we love to keep walking towards negative stimulation.
Interesting.
It is interesting, and I kind of understand what it is. Like I know this thing is it could be like looking at Facebook all day. Like you're getting worked up at looking at this thing all the time. Like you can tell that your equilibrium is totally off, and that's probably carrying into your nighttime routine and maybe affecting with your sleep. But you can't stop looking at it.
Is that why social media, like all the clickbaity, rage baity stuff works so well? Even though, like, who wants to constantly read about negative stuff, but yet it gets clicks?
And that's just a whole other world of its own, right?
They are using that psychology to
I mean, Like why does negativity sell? And you know what I mean? We can go, you can chop that up however you like. Or why do I want to keep looking at the stock market? Like, why do I want to keep looking at charts when I know that my strategy is to stay still and don't be reactive and just stay invested for the long term? But there's a part of me that wants to react to things that are going on. Like, I want to make moves. I want some sort of like, I want that fix. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the thing about it is like, for the stock market, what the addiction is the quick hit.
Yeah.
The quick money, that quick, I bought something, it's gone up 20%. I want that. I don't really care about the money. I just want the green candle. I just want that spike. I want that hit. And I think that's the same thing when whatever we do for the thing, like whether they go on, like, I think a lot of people, they'll make a post on Facebook, you know what I mean, so to speak, and they want to see the reactions to their post.
See what the likes.
You know what I mean? That they're
whatever.
addicted to. I've had a friend that admitted,
addicted to
playing out that
validation.
he is addicted to likes.
Yeah,
he was
it's
very
validation.
open to it. Like,
Yeah.
I am super addicted to likes, and he keeps looking at it because he wants to see what people commented about it. You know what I mean? I used to put out music when I was DJing.
Yeah.
And I put out a set, and I would just be like, oh, I wonder what somebody's saying about it. Like, you're just, and you know what I mean? And you go to it and you kind of like see, well, no, but you know, you're getting stimulated by whatever you're seeing on that screen,
Yeah.
right?
You want to get feedback from people to make you think that you're doing a good job or that people like you or whatever.
Yeah, and I
that's
mean,
a basic
whatever-
human emotion that people.
And I mean, whatever the case may be, but it could be for you could kind of relate it to so many different things.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit. It's just going to seem like it's going off topic, which it might be. But I want to talk about this whole thing about money, of what you said about how it's so ingrained in our lives and how we can't think about how, like, we have to think about it whether we want to or not.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever used to watch Star Trek? Or do you know of Star Trek?
I know of Star Trek.
Yeah.
I wasn't really into
You're not
it,
a big
no.
fan?
No.
Okay. So no problem, though. But the concept of Star Trek, they're in the 25th century or 24th century, whatever, like 300-400 years in the future. And the whole point of Star Trek is that they live a life where money doesn't exist anymore, and they just do what they do for the betterment of mankind, which sounds fantastic, right? So they're Starfleet Academy. They're just like the army, whatever. They got captains, whatever. So people like listen and take orders or whatever. And I guess nobody gets paid. They just do their job.
Yeah.
And it's funny, Andrew, I don't know about you, but I talk about this with the kids and stuff. It's just, I try to imagine what society would be like or how we can get to that point where money doesn't exist and we just do things just because we want to do them. And I can't do it. No matter how much I just try to think about it, I'm like, I don't understand how humans could get to that point where we don't have money anymore. Because what are people going to do in terms of getting motivated for?
There's no reward.
Yeah,
like,
but
how does somebody decide? Like, how does somebody do something like is motivated to do a certain thing, but there's no reward for it?
But
you know?
can we get there, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about personal development, where maybe we want to get better,
The thing
but
about
it's
it is
not because we want to have money attached to it.
it'd
At
be
the
a
end of the
different
day.
story if there was never ever any money. But you can't just have a system where there once was money, and now all of a sudden you can't start a system where there's no more money. If the system was
Well,
just
if
created,
we work towards it somehow, I guess.
yeah. See, the
Anyway,
thing,
sorry,
see,
finish.
in what your suggestion. Okay, let me go back to the Star Trek thing. So, what did they? There must have been some sort of level of value. Like, what was the value? Was it like what were they living for? What were they fighting for? There had to be,
the way they say it is for the betterment of mankind. So like
Okay.
we do this because it's going to make the
that's
human
it right
race.
there.
So
So
everyone had
they're-
a combined, supposedly, right? A combined purpose of everyone else going to be better. But there's still people like, oh, I just own a
See,
restaurant
that's-
or I'm an
yeah.
architect, and everyone still
Yeah.
had regular jobs. But I guess because of they don't have poverty or whatever, that they don't have, like, yeah, I don't know how it works because they didn't, but my point being is, how can we get to that place where we as individuals could not be worried about money, but yet just doing things for ourselves because we want to? Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. I mean, that's a very
Yeah.
apocalyptic type of situation. You know what I mean? But I hear you. Like, it's like my whole perception is of life has something to do with money. Like,
Yeah.
in one way or another, like, it's, you know what I mean? Like,
Same with me. Like
I've
100%.
removed myself from the money game a lot. You know what I mean? Because like,
Well, once you have it though,
yeah,
right, I think you can, obviously, because then you don't have to worry about it anymore. Then you can worry about other things.
well, that's the
But
thing.
when you have no money, you have to worry about money.
Yeah, man. Like I can just imagine what it's like to like go paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh man, yeah, it's not fun.
you know, but it's like, but I also find like in this world, like, I mean, whether we like it or not, like there's so much status of this world. It's been like that since ever with the, you know, the kings and, you know what I mean? There's so much status based around wealth. You know what I mean? It's glorified, right? It's always been glorified. The wealthy, you know what I mean? They have everything. They have all the advantages. You know what I mean? And of course, it looks like it's attainable, and that's what kind of like people always want to like gravitate towards. Like maybe I can attain this wealth, so they just spend their whole lives trying to attain wealth. And that's the thing with personal development, is that if you just spend your whole life thinking about attaining wealth, you can never,
Or this one thing.
you know what I mean? Like that's like the biggest battle for me. It's like, yeah, I want more wealth, but I don't want to like be consumed with having more wealth, because then you miss out on life, right?
Yeah.
Because all you're thinking about is having wealth. It's, you know, it sounds a little, you know, maybe mundane or harsh, but it's like you really just live and then you die, and then you know,
I think about that
you know
all
what I
the
mean?
time.
Like you live and you die, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're in the ground, or you're burnt, and you're thrown, your ashes are thrown
Whatever.
somewhere, and you know, 2 or 3 people think about you, you know, till they die, you know, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's kind of like I said this to my wife, I was like, you know, it's kind of like there's really no reason to be worried, you know, because you're just going to die. And it's kind of like, you know, uplifting and depressing at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
not
Because
something
it's
you wanna
like,
think about all the time.
me too. It's like, what's the fucking point of caring so much when you're inevitably going to pass? You know what I mean? It's like you're just kind of like living in this state of like always wanting more,
Yeah.
and like never being satisfied, when at the end of the day, like, you know, you're gonna be 80 years old and being like, why did I, you know, you ever hear the concept, you know, the regrets of the dying? There's been some books.
Yeah.
I've read a book by I forget the name of the author, but she was an Australian palliative care worker, and she worked with people that were dying, and she wrote a book about it. And there's the 5 regrets of the dying, right? And I believe that they were on the level of I shouldn't have worked so hard. I should have spent more time with family.
Yep.
I shouldn't, you know, all these things of like all based around I should not have cared so much.
Yeah.
Like I should not have just tried
About the things that weren't important.
Yeah, I shouldn't have
Yeah,
tried so hard to like want more and have more. I should just lived in the moment more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and isn't that really what enlightenment is? You know what I mean? Like, isn't what personal development us just trying to be enlightened beings?
I think so.
And what is enlightenment to you? Because I find that's a very subjective term.
Well, this is where I guess I could chime in a little bit about what I think about personal development. And I think what I'm trying to get myself at is to that point where I could live every day and feel content and satisfaction with how my day goes, regardless of how much money or whatever I have. And then I think, speaking to enlightenment, I think that's where I would get to that next level of understanding who I am and understanding my place in this world, where that it's, you know, I can just have everything that I have, and then I won't want for more. And then I'll reach that next level of, okay, I can be happy with whatever's going on in my life. Whereas before, and even now, I'm definitely not there now, but it's always, I need to work extra hard on the business because I need to attain this certain level, or I need to work extra hard at doing this thing because my house doesn't look the way it is, or I want to have stuff looking the way that I want it to look at. Where at the end of the day, like, who cares what my house looks like when I'm dead? Like, it's not going to matter in a sense. But I think there is still something to take joy and pride in the things that you do have and the things that you do. But it's finding that balance and finding, I guess, that Yeah, enlightenment's a very tricky word. In
It's a
terms of
very
like how do
tricky
you,
word, right?
But it's different for every other
I
person.
mean, people go down to like Costa Rica and Ecuador and take ayahuasca to try to find enlightenment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like people will or do anything to try to figure out this maze of a mind that we have that just haunts us all the time, right?
Yeah.
And that's just like I think that's like the biggest thing with personal development is that you know what I mean? Like I feel like enlightenment to me it's when you can truly like understand that there's no fix. Like there's really no fix to the human condition. You're always going to have self-critical thoughts. You're always going to be a little, unhappy at times. You know what I mean? It's like really the best thing you can do is to be aware of it, have the tools to give it space and not let it not to let it run your
It's
life.
like being comfortable in it and existing in it.
I think that
And
being comfortable with being uncomfortable is a very hard
Yeah.
skill to learn. And I think that's the thing because, man, like there's nobody that doesn't struggle in this life because everybody dies. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Everybody struggles
in
it's
their
like,
own way. Yeah.
I think that we kind of get lost thinking, like I said this many times that, and I know that I can get like this sometimes, that we feel like we are the only people that struggle sometimes. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where it gets a little out of hand is like, yeah, you could have a certain type of situation going on and you could really just self-loathe and say like, oh, fuck my life and I'm the only one that is experiencing this. And then, but you're not like, this is the experience that you were given. And you know what I mean? And I think the best thing with personal development is to have the tools to give those types of situations space and for you to just let them be and not have to react to them. That to me is what enlightenment is to understand that life is what it is and you just need to know how to handle the things when they start to arise.
Yeah. Andrea, what do you think about enlightenment?
Well, I think kind of going off that, the one thing I often tell Tristan, because he's often in his head a lot and he gets really hung up on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always tell him like, none of this is permanent. Every single thing that you're going through is temporary. So even if you're going through a really difficult time, like it's temporary, it's going to resolve and things are going to get better. But even those good times are also temporary. So you have to live in the moment and be there and enjoy it. And so that's kind of what I think. And I mean, we've gone through so much garbage in our life. Like you have to have that outlook.
You know, the ups and downs are going to come. The only thing permanent is impermanence. Or what is that? That saying?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's wild because it's so hard to like you could meet somebody. Like we go to hockey, we see people coming in and going. Like you see people for an hour to 2 hours, and you just never think anything is ever going wrong with anybody, right? But you still spend a day with somebody. Spend one day with somebody and you start to get to talking, and then you'll start to realize how human that person is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then if you usually like, I've always noticed it when like I go on, like I said, when I go on vacation with people and people that I've only seen like at dinners and, just small little get-togethers, just like quick chit chat, but then you go on a longer term, experience with them. And you really, you know what I mean? If you're with somebody for an hour, like all it takes is, you're with somebody for a day, you're going to see the crap that's in their life.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how great anything is. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like if I was say here with you guys, like just come here, have an hour conversation with you, say, meet her. And I'll be like, oh man, what a perfect little family.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Now we get to know each other a little bit and you guys are open. I'm like, yeah, you guys are human beings just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Same with me. Like, you know what I mean? It's like we all, like I said, I'm 3 different people usually during the day. Usually like in the morning, it's a little bit of a storm of like trying to let the takers not pull me out of my piece.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it gets a little bit easier, but every morning it's like, cause you're sore, you're achy, so it's really hard to like have that good energy. But then I get moving,
Yeah.
and then I start creating some energy, and then you know what I mean. My wife wakes up, we have coffee, we're having a good conversation. Then I'm totally a different person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. And then you kind of get a little sluggish throughout the day, and
Oh, for sure, yeah.
you kind of sink in, and you know your mind kind of wanders and ruminates, and then you're kind of like got some crap rolling around again. You know what I mean. And then then you kind of get out of it, and it's like there's no perfect just sunny disposition all day.
No, never.
You know what I mean? And I think that if you can just allow that to be the way it is and accept it, then life can be so much easier. It can be so much ease. But I feel like the biggest problem is when people can't accept it and they want to get into self-loathing and and really like
self-pity
let that that pain body, like I exposed about, like take over, instead of just letting it be there on the side and not giving it any type of experience.
Yeah. Would you say that that's what am I thinking of here? Very similar to victim mentality. That seems to be a big thing that people are talking about in society now, where people are like, all these things are happening to me.
It's exactly
so
what
I
it
should
is.
feel bad, and I'm gonna feel sorry for myself, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what it is. It's like it's victim mentality, because everybody thinks that their situation is so unique that nobody else is having a crappier situation than what they are.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like
Almost guaranteed there's gonna be
how
somebody.
Facebook or Instagram, it's like where people go and perform. Like, why don't we have a shit book? Or you know what I mean?
We should make that new app.
Or you know what I
whatever.
mean? Why isn't there something where only people can only post the crappy stuff that's going on today? You know what I mean? There would be a lot more content. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I'd want to see that, but
Well, no, but I bet you people would feel a lot more
a lot
a
better
lot
about
more
themselves.
accepted in their struggles. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not like more in the concept of like misery loves company, or you know what I mean? People want to,
Sorry, go ahead.
or like, because there is this thing where you do hear about people's mishaps, and you kind of like start comparing your life to them. Well, oh, I'm having a bad day, but at least it's not as bad as what this person's going through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not meant to be like, okay, I'm not doing as bad as this person, so I'm okay. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be like that. It's just, man, it's like when you really open your ears and open your eyes to what's going on, or everybody's going through something. And I think you just really need to like focus on
Just have perspective.
and that's about cultivating perspective. And I think perspective and wisdom and enlightenment, I think that's like there's a reason why people that are like in their 60s really seem not to give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like my mother and my aunt, they're in their 60s, and they're just like, I don't care about that shit anymore, because because they're getting closer to, their bodies are telling them like, we're getting closer to this expiration date. It's like all this, the frivolous shit, this status, all this the game, right?
Oh, yeah.
It slowly stops meaning more and more as you get older and older, and you start getting closer to that expiration
Because you learn
date.
so much from what you've experienced as well too. Like if you think of a baby, or you think of someone that's 1 or 2 years old, what they've experienced in life is so minuscule. Like if you take a toy away from a kid, that's like the most devastating thing that they've ever experienced in their life.
Yeah.
So for them, life is over, and they're screaming and having the tantrum. But when you're 60 years old, you've been through so much, that it's nothing. So like, it's one of those things where it takes time to get that enlightenment, or that sense of, okay, you know what? This isn't something that I need to be worried about or to be concerned about, because you've experienced so many things. I think that's something that everyone kind of has to go through. I think everyone reaches that at a different point as well too, because there's some young people that really seem to have their shit together. But I think that's an exception rather than a rule, because most people are like, the younger you are, I feel like the more apt you are to like losing your shit over the smallest little things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like that as well too when I was younger. It's like if something small happened, it's like, okay, the world is over, because no one knows what it's like to be me, to not be able to, or to have something like that happen, when you realize that it happens to everybody.
And that's training the muscle, right? Like, I mean, that's just growing up. You know what I mean? Like, you're going through it and you realize all this weight. Like and the people say like, do you have any regrets? You know what I mean? Like, I have no regrets about anything that I've done. I have more regrets about how I handled situations, how much excess stress and pain I caused myself in those situations. Like, I've had bad situations. That were kind of like, you know, they're in my control, but they're out of my control.
Yeah.
But what was really in my control is how I dealt with them. Like if there's something that
That's all we can control.
and, you know,
is
something
how-
that happened to me, I should probably could have let it go like a month earlier than when I let it go. But I let it sit there with me for way longer than it was.
Yep.
But then after a while, you start to learn how to let go of things a lot quicker.
Exactly.
And and maybe some people don't ever get
That's
to
the
there.
thing.
You know what
and
I mean?
it's having that self-awareness as well too. I think you started talking about that at the beginning here. It's just understanding yourself and who you are and where you might have weaknesses and identifying that so you can start to work on them, right? So if you know that you have a really hard time with, you know, negative thoughts, then take the time to figure out what you can do once you do have a thought to get it out of there as quickly as possible. And that's
Yeah.
being aware. And you have to know who you are to be able to know what areas you need to work on to fix.
Yeah.
And that's kind of almost where personal development can start from, is having that self-awareness or sitting down and saying like, okay, where am I lacking? Where do I have holes in who I am as a person? And then working through that to figure out what you could do next to you know, plug them up in a sense.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things in personal development is that I kind of fell into is like it's meditation, and like I'll do meditation every morning, and it's like I didn't really understand it at first because like, you know, it
I'm
kind
just
of
gonna
came.
sit down here and
I mean, it
just
can't like
think.
it's very woo woo, you know what I mean? Sit in lotus position and like breathe, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
then when you start to understand its purpose, it's about being aware of what's going on in your mind. Like you're sitting there, you're concentrating on your breath, and you're allowing your thoughts to just be, and you're not attaching to them. And that's the work of meditation. It's you're not attaching to what's going on in your mind. You're allowing the traffic to run. You're allowing the traffic to just be there, and you're not walking in the middle of it.
So how long have you been meditating for?
Oh, consistently now for about 3 or 4 years.
How long did it take? So you're saying it works for you now. Can you just very quickly, like how has it helped you?
It's first of all, it's taken away from the negative things. Like, so instead of going towards my phone and scrolling,
Okay.
I'll sit down and I'll start my day with like about 15 minutes of
So
meditation.
better habit for one.
It's a
thing,
better
yeah.
habit, and it's first it allows me to understand what my mind does.
Yeah.
Like it's like, and the thing about it is people think that you can. It's not about sitting there and breathing and not having thoughts, because people get worked up because I was thinking about stuff. It's like, yeah, you're thinking about it for sure, but you're supposed to just let it be there, and you're not supposed to attach to it. That's the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you
To
take
figure out how to do it
yeah,
properly, in a
well,
sense.
it's that's the practice. It's like anything, you're trying to practice your wrist shot at hockey. You're trying to practice not attaching to your thoughts.
Right.
Like the thoughts are there. Like there's always traffic.
Yeah.
Right. There's always traffic.
Unless you're dead, you're going to have brain activity.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
There's always traffic, and traffic comes at different speeds, right?
Yeah.
Like when there's like a stimulation, the traffic can get like, and I always said this, when the traffic is slow, you can kind of tip your toe and just try to cross the street. And then that's the best thing to do, is to like, especially if something like, for example, like if something happens in your life and you have to deal with it, and like the traffic, like let's say case in point, you have a client that wants to give you, let's say it's a really important thing. A client wants to do a big deal with you.
Right, yeah.
Right. And okay, the traffic starts because you're getting excited.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
traffic is picking up, and like you want to jump right in there, and you know what I mean? And you want to react to it. And it's like, okay, but maybe it's a good thing to just let that traffic go for a little bit, and then you can let it slow down, and you can just see all the, all the
See
cars.
the
You can
options,
see
yeah.
through the lane, and then you can kind of just take your time, and then you can kind of step into it without it just going so fast, because that's the best
Yeah.
time to cross the street.
Right.
When it's slowed down. So when doing meditation, you want to slow that traffic down. You know what I mean? You want to just let it, because sometimes it can get really fast.
Yeah.
Depending on, you know what I mean? Like that's why I don't look at anything in the morning. I had a kind of a bad habit of like checking my phone.
First thing in the morning.
I would check the market first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And that would just
Great way to start your day.
Boom,
That and
rush
a
hour.
bowl of Wheaties.
Yeah, rush hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 0 to 100 is
And
not a
then
good
I
way
would
to
go
go.
try to do my workout, and then my mind,
Just ramped up with that.
yeah, and I would not be present.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really a good.
So it's helped you calm down, helps you start your day really well, helped you kind of understand your mind, help you control your thoughts, which helps you probably have a little bit more of a steady state in the day. Like you said,
Yeah.
you know, you go up and down.
Yeah.
But like everybody does,
100%. It
but
keeps-
not as much. Maybe the spikes aren't, the
Yeah.
highs aren't as high, the lows aren't as low.
Yeah, I try not to like look at any type of like external stimulation via laptop.
Yeah.
Laptop's the first thing I'll go to when it's or like
Yeah.
or YouTube to watch like sports or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? And it doesn't matter. As soon as something comes on, you're getting stimulated.
Well, it's
right?
tough too now because you go YouTube is like I love to do that. You know, go to Sportsnet or just see the highlights or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the problem with YouTube, of course, is they got the feeds there. And
Well,
it's like,
yeah.
oh, just watch this next. It's like,
I got-
I want to watch that next. Damn
I
it.
got sidetracked today about
Yeah.
something like in the market. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
it's
Like
ridiculous.
you know what I mean? Like it was like, oh, the ball game was there, but right next to it, it was some information about the market. I was like, kind of interested in this.
and the title hooked you, and that's the whole other game.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to kind of really understand how to meditate correctly and to get the benefits from it?
Quite a while
Yeah.
actually. Like definitely like a couple of years.
Oh,
of,
that
like-
long, eh? So
Yeah,
it's-
well, like I mean, like to like before I got like really like ingrained, like it took like when I say that time frame, like that was like when I started getting interested in it. I probably been doing it for about 2 years, like on point now. Like, but it was like within like the 4 years of like trying to understand it. You know what I mean? It took me about 2 years to really
Okay.
grasp it. Now I really understand it. Now it's just like a staple in my morning routine.
That's interesting. Because the only thing I could see is like if someone's listening to this and they're like, yeah, you know what? I want to figure out how I can, try to calm my mind. And then they're like, they listen to you and they're like, oh, let's do some meditation. They hear that. It's like, oh, that's really great benefits. How long does it take? Oh, 2 years. They'll be like, oh my God, I don't got 2 years to
Maybe
wait.
it doesn't take people that long, but that to truly understand, because I think a lot of people think when they go to meditate that they're going to calm their body down.
Yeah.
Right. And it does do that, but it's learning how to not react to your thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's learning how to focus on being there, sitting, focusing. That's why you breathe. Like the breathing will relax you, of course, but the breathing is what you're focusing on. And it's very important now because our minds are so hijacked. I notice it. I notice how hard it is for me to focus on something because my mind. It's like it's a very serious thing.
These things are, I hate these things. We can spend a couple episodes talking about these things and how
we've talked about them and they're dangerous, man. They are so dangerous. You know what I mean? I'm not attached to mine at all. I'm more attached to my laptop because my laptop is where I go to look at charts.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because I know where the things are built in. I know where because I have my icons, right? I know how to get to my charts.
Yeah.
I know how to get to my fantasy baseball, my emails.
Yeah, it's all
Airbnb.
Oh, for
You know
sure.
what I mean? Things of like that kind of get your mind going, right?
Yeah,
It's the laptop for me. The phone really doesn't do it for me,
Yeah.
but it's the same concept.
But it's just a bigger screen.
Oh
in
man,
that
have you
sense,
ever like opened your Andrew? I think I've mentioned this to you before. Like I'll go open my laptop or my phone to go do something, and I'll see a notification or something, and totally get sidetracked of what I was planning on doing. Next thing you know, I'm in the middle of something else, right?
I mean, these companies spend billions of dollars to design these things in a way. Like, it's hard to fight. It's like you're going to lose. Some days you're going to win, some days you're going to lose. And I think it's just trying to get more wins than losses. But then it's also structuring your life in a way that I'm going to put into place habits that are going to keep me from doing that. Because if you wake up in the morning and you're looking at the phone and you always feel like shit every morning, then put in that habit of meditating or going out and going for a walk without your phone or something to get yourself there. Like, it doesn't have to be like meditation. It could be whatever it is that's going to make sense for
Great
you.
point.
So that you can go ahead and get rid of that stuff.
Exactly. Like meditation doesn't have to be like, I like to do it because I like practicing sitting in a lotus position. I like it for the physical benefits of it.
Absolutely.
But like it is about walking without stimulation, which is the other thing I do. So I'll do,
and you could be in your
so
thoughts
I
there
actually
too.
start the day with a walk before I go to the meditation. Like I get up and I just move. I go for just, a 15-minute walk just to kind of move. And then I'll go into the meditation. But the same thing, no stimulation. That's a new thing that I brought into my life because I go with the walk with a podcast on.
Yeah.
And that's stimulating my mind because whatever they're saying is pulling me in that direction. And it's creating, creating a little bit of traffic as we're speaking. And so I took that, and that was hard. Like there was a lot of resistance to not putting my earbuds in first thing in the morning because it was so ingrained in my habitual, and I wanted to hear voices and I wanted my mind to be distracted. It was really difficult to get out of that which I'm calling a bad habit.
Yeah.
And so it was like, but like all habits, it takes you 3 to 4 days, and then they're gone.
Then you're fine.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned this is off topic, but the whole thing about listening to podcasts and things, I used to listen to them quite a bit, but now I hardly listen to it at all because I love to just be in my own thoughts and thinking about my own things and trying to think about what I think about things and not let other people tell me how I should think about other things. And yeah, like going for a walk without having the headphones on, like
That's what a walk is. You know what I mean?
I love that so much more now.
Yeah.
I used to be, I gotta listen to a book, I gotta listen to podcasts, I gotta learn. Someone's gotta teach me about how to do this. Like,
Yeah.
no. And like I was saying before, I think I don't want to be like, oh, I have everything all figured out, which I don't. But I think a lot of things are a lot easier than we make them out to be. Like, you don't need to listen to 100 podcast episodes to understand what you need to do in order to get started with your business, right? Or you don't need to listen to all of these things to understand how to meditate. Like, just do it. Just try. And then go from there. And then you learn this, and then it unlocks this. You learn that. Then you could like, oh, well, I'm having a trouble here. Then you almost know specifically kind of like how to search your problem instead of being so broad of like, how do I do personal development? It's like, no, you can narrow things down. So I've gotten away from trying to have all these extra things to tell me what to do and just like, I'm just going to do it myself and then be alone in my thoughts. And I feel like it's helped a whole lot for me anyways.
You said a really interesting word when you said unlock. When you cause that's the whole point of like what you're trying to do. Like you need to unlock something to create, you need to be able to instill some sort of benefit into the habit that you're doing. Like for me, it was like when I was doing meditation, I was kind of like off and on for a while because I had a hard time locking into the benefit of it. You know what I mean? Because like for me, it was like I was thinking that I was going to calm myself down, that I was going to create this Zen-like feeling, and it was, and you know what I mean? And then but then I had the wrong intention, and kind of paradoxically, it actually went, and I had the different intention where, okay, this is about not attaching to my thoughts, which created the Zen-like feeling that I was actually
you didn't know
I didn't know that it was going to create because I took the wrong approach to it, right? Which is kind of cool, but you have to find the benefit in one way or the other that's going to be able to give you the reward that keeps you instilled in the habit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
I feel like you can't get there unless you actually just try to do
you have to give it time. You have to, if you're going to try anything in like the personal development stage, whether it's fitness, eating healthy, whatever the case may be, if you're not willing to be consistent for at least 3 months to give yourself the real answer, then that's on you. Like, and that I'm sorry, like I'm talking not 2 weeks, not 1 month, 3 months.
It goes back to what we're saying about at the start of, I almost call it like the fast food industry of personal development, because everyone, like the weight loss pill, that every just wants, give it to me now, and I want to have the results in like a week or two. And I think you hit the nail on the head where I think people need to set realistic expectations in how long something is going to take. Like you were saying, 2 years to get good at learning how to meditate and how finding out what worked for you. I mean, it took me years to figure out how to learn how to operate this equipment to be able to actually start to make money off of it. Like it takes a long time to figure out some stuff and to get mastery. So having realistic expectations,
it's a real skill really to have important. A long-term mindset. I had to, like, especially with the stock market, like I had to, like, I'm still developing my long-term mindset because it's, you know, even though this is 3 years since I pivoted, it's there's still challenges. But every challenge I face, I've faced one not too long ago. You know, even the market, you know, for the market was just ripping. One sector was lifting the whole market, and I was underweight that sector. Yeah. You know what I mean? The semiconductors, and I was like, I had FOMO. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's like, but that wasn't my plan. Was to just be all in one sector, just to get all my wealth in 1
year,
in 1 month, 3 months. It's not that's not the game I'm playing, right? And there's nobody, and nobody's playing that game. Nobody's like over invested in. I mean, maybe they are, but if they are, they'll eventually get smoked one way or another. You know what I mean? But it takes a long time to develop a long-term mindset. You know what I mean? And I'm taking in consideration all the small little rewards that I've been getting from this throughout this journey. And I'm using those to create my perspective of what it takes to be a long-term investor. And you have to take that long-term approach with any type of thing that you're doing, especially when it comes to personal development, because things, first of all, it's personal. It's a big component
long-term
of
investment into your life, into you.
You know what I mean? Like, especially, and like, as coming from a personal training background, like, I always had to say to them, it's not about what type of workouts we're doing. It's not about the type of diet I'm going to put you on, because I don't even believe in diets. It's about what can you do to stay consistent for the longest period of time. Yeah. That's when you'll see the results. That's when you'll see the benefits. And once those small rewards start getting ingrained in your head, the longer you can stay on the path. Yeah. But you know what I mean? And then a lot of the times they want to do something really fast. Like, they want to, like, I could take somebody that's overweight and I could drop 20 pounds on them.
I'm 100%
you know, I could go drop 20 pounds off anybody in a month. You know what I mean? It's not healthy. It's not sustainable. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if that's what you really want, like in the stock market, somebody could go make double their money in a month if they took a risk and it worked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's not sustainable way of investing.
You're not going to do that every single month.
You know what I mean? Like, I could go in, but you're not going to be able to sit there and, starve yourself and, run on the treadmill for 2 hours a day for the rest of your life. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Do that for a couple of weeks.
You're not going to enjoy it either. No. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why, like, The Biggest Loser, I mean, study after study, they all gain their weight back and then some afterwards.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
it's not sustainable. You're not building the lifestyle that you need and the habits that you need in order to sustain that. And it's like the holy grail of personal development. I mean, you got to have the long-term mindset.
Yeah. I mean, that's the most, and it's a hard mindset to have, because I mean, we're developing a world where, it seems like everybody has so much more than us, and we want, and it seems like they got it so quick.
Yeah. And I want it right now.
I mean, there's probably, like, we're in a generation where, millionaires are getting made, like, some of them are just getting made so quick with, especially, I think it's
or
more.
It seems that way. Maybe.
It seems that way. And I think that's the biggest problem. I think it's like this YouTube generation. And my wife told me the biggest career path that kids want to go on.
They want to be YouTubers.
They want to be YouTubers because of all the flash they see, right?
There is some truth to it, because if you do catch on YouTube or whatever internet type business, you have access to the global market instantly. Yeah. So you can, if you have that $1 thing that you sell and it goes viral and you have 1 million people want to buy it.
If I was 25 right now, 20 years younger, I'd be on YouTube.
Just trying to figure it out.
Because I'd probably be in whatever industry I was in, I would be utilizing YouTube with it. If I was in fitness, if I was starting my fitness journey, I'd have a YouTube channel. 100%.
Well, you should as a business right now.
100%. But there's these small percentage of these YouTube millionaires that, because the algorithms are because they're the most popular.
That's the difference now. We're going to get into more business philosophy now, but if you're going on YouTube because you just want to be YouTube famous and that's how you want to make your money, that's the wrong approach you need to be doing. You need to be using YouTube as a vehicle for you to be able to promote your business and sell whatever product or service after, like, outside of YouTube, right? So it can be a great tool for awareness of what you're doing in your brand. But if you just want to be the next Mr. Beast kind of thing, like, okay, well,
that's just the thing.
Good luck, right? Like, it's just so saturated. You can do it. It's going to be very difficult.
Well, that's the thing. It's no difference than the kid wanting to be the famous actor or the NHL hockey player. They want to be the famous YouTuber. But the thing about it is that with YouTube, you can actually make a successful living from it, one way or the other. You don't need that. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, but with hockey, you know what I mean? There's only one way to make it good. You have to be a pro, which is very hard.
There's still, like, Europe and all that stuff. There's other leagues and stuff too. That's not NHL or bust, but it's still, there's only a few thousands of people that can do it.
Just I find the whole YouTube thing it's
fascinating.
Some people are very open about the money they make. Some of them make really great money, you know what I mean? But a lot of it comes from sponsorships, right?
Yeah, it depends. Everyone's got different ways of how they're making their
money. Some people, like, that you wouldn't even think of make a lot of money, and then the ones that you think make a lot of money don't make a lot of money. It's just the platforms that they're on.
And that's
so
it can business acumen.
It can be very deceiving, right?
Yeah, especially like the short, like, TikToks. You got these people making millions of views on their TikToks, and they're making pennies on the dollar for what they should be making in terms of views.
Like, as a platform, YouTube doesn't pay very well. It's a lot of, like, what they pivot the like what they pivot into, like whether they're like have discords,
Yeah.
they you know what I mean?
How
or
you
they-
capture that attention. And
how you
awareness.
capture that attention, which
Yeah, yeah.
which I still don't, which I think is a great business plan. You know what I mean? If you want to put yourself out there on the internet, but like I said,
Yeah.
but what the kids see is the fame and the clout. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they just want that because it goes back to the validation. What better? I'd love to just post a video and then I get thousands of comments, thousands of likes and hearts.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's very
you
deceiving.
want that for sure. This is a fantastic conversation. I love this.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get into. I'd love to dive into. I don't think we're going to start it now because then we're just going to go off the rails and we're just going to. It's all 10
As
o'clock
we
tonight.
usually do.
But I do want to talk about personal development on the health and fitness aspect of it next because I think that's really important. I know that's something for me that I struggle with because as we were just saying at the end, for this, I know this is the wrong way to go about it, but I always go about it I just need to have the results now. And then I'll go and I'll lose 20, 30, 40 pounds. And then I just gain it all back up. And it's been a yo-yo for like the past ever, basically, for me. That's always how it goes. So
how does that sit with you? Like while like, you know, we don't have to get into it, but I'm curious because you've expressed it to me, but I don't know exactly how it really makes you feel because you've expressed that it's something that you struggle with. But how often in a day does that eat away at you? How
all the time.
it's something.
It's
yeah.
the biggest
Would you
thing.
say that this is one of your biggest like takers? Is
100%.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Because I'll have thought. I'll just leave this for now. We'll give you a little tease for next week. But yeah, I'll be like, I feel uncomfortable in my clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm gonna waste away the summer because I don't like going to the beach or whatever because I feel like I'm just I'm just fat, and it's just all those thoughts. It's just constant, and then it's like, well, what are you doing? You wasted the whole winter. You didn't do anything, and you didn't do anything to do this. What are you doing? So you have no one to blame yourself. Then I feel down about myself, and it's just constant. It's just constant spirals, and then it's just like you get discouraged or whatever it is. It's just like, okay, well,
you are one. You're like not alone. You're so you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like that. That's the thing. And for me, it's like it doesn't surprise me. But again, what does surprise me is how motivated you are in so many other aspects of your life. Like you see so much value in so many other aspects, but you don't see value in this one. And maybe it's because of the type of effort that it requires. That it's
so. I've been thinking about that. I hear what you're saying. I think a big problem that I have right now is the amount of injuries that I've sustained from just exercising, and that everything is so painful for me now that it's hard to get past that hump now of like even just exercising gets to be painful. Like I can't even walk without being in constant pain, right? So it's like that weighs on me.
yeah.
Anyways.
That's just a little intro into next
Yeah.
week's conversation. It's going to be a good one because we have a lot to talk about with that
for
one.
sure.
That's a whole other
For sure.
show on
and
its
Andrea
own.
will have some
Yeah, we're gonna
shining in
get
there too,
we need your perspective on that one too.
because she knows.
Yeah, and I mean, like it's my bread and butter, but there's the dark sides of it too, of like being too far to the right of it, which we've talked about before, me and Andrea. So there's a lot of different perspectives that can be taken from that industry because it's important, but it can get obsessive as well. It can it can be underutilized, and then it can be overutilized. And I think we need to hit on both extremes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it, Leo. Thanks so much for stopping by, and everyone, we'll see you in the next
Thursday.
episode.
Awesome.
Perfect.